The time is finally here, folks. Couldn't have come sooner. It's finally the time of year to get out and do some exploring off-road. The weather is absolutely gorgeous. Right now it's the first week of November. I am currently at Cherokee Rock Village in Alabama, just outside of Gadsden, Alabama. And I stopped here. I'm actually on my way up to northern Georgia. I want to go up to northern Georgia, do some exploring up there. I believe up there we should have a little bit more color as far as the leaves changing. I may be a little too late. The leaves may have already changed and fallen off the trees up there by now, but if that's the case, it doesn't matter. That means more views along the route. So there's only one way to find out. My initial plan was actually to go do the Georgia Traverse, which I've done before. And that's why really just last night I decided, you know what, that's fun and all, but why not live a little, do something that I haven't done before, something a little different. And I just remembered when I was looking at my Gaia GPS that at some point earlier this year, I had downloaded the Chattahoochee BDR-X, the backcountry discovery route loop. And it's nearly the length of the Georgia Traverse. It's mostly on the eastern half of northern Georgia. And so I think I'm gonna use that as a guide. There is some overlap with the Georgia Traverse, but there's also a lot of it that's not a part of the Traverse. So it'll be interesting to get out there and try some new stuff. So I just got camp broke down. I'm about to make my way up to East Ellijay. That's where the loop starts, and start heading east from there. I'm gonna take the bottom half of the loop. The first section takes you towards Suches, Georgia. But that's where I'm gonna start, East Ellijay. I'm gonna go through the bottom of the loop and do the loop counterclockwise. But like I said, I'm here at Cherokee Rock Village. Kind of an interesting night. I love this place. It's an awesome campground. But I did have neighbors, ironically enough. I'm not going to get into it right now. More on that later for sure. But I've got camp broke down. About to get my coffee poured off into my Yeti and get on the road. So let's go see what we can find. What's that? Oh yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting road. It's a fun one. This road took me up to Nimblewell Gap, which is where the Appalachian Trail actually crosses, but there's no camping up there without hiking. But I'm making my way down now. Hopefully I'm able to find a place to camp sooner rather than later, because I am losing the sun. Been keeping my eye out for a camp spot, and I saw like a little road. It's actually really hard to see from the main route coming in, and I decided to come down here at the risk of not being able to get turned around, and glad I did. Check this out. Awesome camp spot. Little running creek, fire pit, plenty of flat space for tents. It's able to drive right down here to it. Coming up through there is the route that I was on, but I think this is going to be it, guys. figured we could have a little fireside chat to recap day one here. Well, the first official day. Sorry about the lighting. I don't even know if you're able to see me or not, but with these days being shorter right now, might as well at least have a little chat, even though it's dark out. I'm not one of those people that I guess you can't consider me an overlander. I'm just more of a person that likes to off-road, explore the woods, stuff like that. But I'm certainly not one of those people that feels like I need to get to camp with several hours so that I could break out my $35,000 worth of cooking equipment and all that kind of stuff and end up eating better out here than I eat at home. It's just not for me. I like to spend my time out on the route enjoying the trail, but to each their own. In fact, today I was actually getting hungry around probably about 2 o'clock when I just first started the actual route that I'm on. However, when I hit this first road on the way up to Nimblewheel Gap, I guess I just got so distracted because it got gnarly really quick. A lot of fun though, really washed out, you've already seen. But yeah, totally forgot to eat at all and got to camp and realized I haven't had a single morsel of food all day. Just had some water to drink and some coffee this morning, but I'm gonna eat good tonight. I'm just gonna grill some hot dogs over the campfire. That's good enough for me. I've already had some potato chips and had some snack sticks to hold me over in the meantime. But so far, so good. Really enjoying the route. There was a decent amount of road driving in the very beginning. And it's kind of on and off, road and off-road. And you can tell that this is a route designed for and by adventure bike riders because all of the roads are just super windy. Beautiful countryside though. Whoever put it together did just an incredible job. So really enjoying it so far. I'm going to get as far as I can tomorrow. I don't have any idea how far that's going to be. It's about a 350-mile route, so it's going to take several days to get the whole thing done, but it's been a lot of fun so far. Really looking forward to what the rest of it brings me. I'm actually pretty close to the Appalachian Trail, and then when I was telling you earlier that the Appalachian Trail intersects at Nimblewheel Gap, that's not correct based on what I was just looking at on Gaia. That's the approach trail. And I was kind of wondering because when I was up there I saw a trail and it was blue blazed, and that makes sense that it would be a blue blaze because the Appalachian Trail is blazed in white blazes, but all of the side chutes and all that kind of stuff are blue blazes. So that was actually the approach trail, which I have a love-hate relationship with. I did it once, probably never do it again, but I'm glad I did it the one time I did it. Tough trail, absolutely tough trail to start off an Appalachian Trail hike, but 100% glad that I actually did it. Anyways, I'm just going to hang out here, enjoy this fire, and like I said, grill up some hot dogs, probably do a little bit of reading in my tent. This weather is just absolutely gorgeous, crystal clear. The lows are forecasted to be down in like the high 40s at night, mid to high 40s, and during the day hitting about 70 degrees. So absolutely blessed with awesome weather, zero complaints. So I'm gonna enjoy my night. See you tomorrow. Good morning. I slept really good last night. The temperature could not have been more perfect. Probably I'd say 50 degrees or so. Not really anything for wind. That coupled with the fact that I have a little stream right next to where my tent was, where it meets a creek, making some awesome noise throughout the night. Just really put me to sleep, kept me asleep. I feel good and energized, ready to get on my way for the day. I've got camp already broke down. I just made some coffee and I'm gonna make my way up the route. I have no idea at all how far I'm gonna make it today, but I'm gonna make it as far as I make it. If I come across another legendary campsite like this a little earlier in the day, don't put it past me to stop, but I really do want to just kind of enjoy the trail. I want to enjoy the sights and sounds along the way. That's really why I'm out here. That's my only stipulation for the trip, is to not be in a hurry. So I'm gonna get out of here, make my way up the route, and see what today brings. Well, if you miss the little road that takes you down to the campsite I stayed at, don't fret. Go about another 100 yards down the trail and you end up at this really sweet camping area on this same creek. It's Nimblewheel Creek, but check it out. Just beautiful down here. And as you can see, just ample flat space for tents, rigs if you have a rooftop tent. I mean, just a vast amount of space. You can get a lot of people down here. And like I said, this place here, I mean, the road is literally, you just saw it as I was panning the camera around. So you're not gonna miss this when you're descending down from Nimblewheel Gap. Plenty of opportunity for camping. just made it down to a cool little store. It's called Van Zant's store. Really neat little spot. You can get hot food. They sell like sandwiches, BLTs, things like that. Also a bunch of like homemade jams and jellies, candles, soap, all that fun stuff. Firewood if you need it, but it's $15 a bundle. So I'm probably going to do what I ordinarily do, what I actually did yesterday, and that is to find a place that's selling it alongside of the road. Most of the time you can find it for about $5 a bundle. So that's my plan. I've got one bundle of wood left. I can make that work for tonight, but I'm gonna keep my eye peeled for a little bit more as I keep going. But it looks like the next stop is Suches, Georgia. I will tell you, there were ample camping opportunities after you saw my my little update at the one just past where I was. I marked a whole bunch of them along the route. A whole bunch of them. There's a lot of them that were similar to what I was at, you know, just kind of established. And then there was also a pretty long section that had campsites that were established by the, I'm assuming the Forest Service, but they were legitimate campsites. And there was a pretty decent section through there. It's the Blue Ridge Wildlife Management Area. A pretty decent section through there where you have to stay at designated campsites, but there were quite a few, probably about, 8 or 10 of them. So I marked them all on my GPS, so if I come through here again, I know where they are. But anyways, I'm gonna head up the road and see what I find. This Forest Service road, I think it's 333. I'm not gonna lie, when I first came up to it, made me a little bit nervous. It's the first road I've come to so far that straight up says 4x4 only, and it was pretty gnarly at the very beginning. You can tell it's relatively dry here. There's a lot of mud holes, but unlike back home where you really gotta worry about bottomless mud holes, everything up here is pretty much has a rocky bottom. There's some deep ones, but I'm still kind of getting over that fear of bottomless mud holes. But anyway, so far it's been a really wild trail, a lot of fun. There's no indication on this route that things are about to get gnarly. You don't have a waypoint or anything. Just you'll be on a paved road. Next thing you know, it's like you run into we're literally just pretty much for most of this trail just driving through the woods. Very narrow. There's no turning around. There's no passing another vehicle, but it's a lot of fun. This is my kind of riding. But anyways, I've made it to where apparently if I go this way, down this trail here, you see that those diamond blazes, there's a swinging bridge. Down there is the Tacoma River. So I'm gonna make my way down there and check out what's marked on the GPS as a swinging bridge. So let's go see it. Yes, indeed. This thing is legitimate. Check it out. This is a long suspension bridge. It's pretty trippy. It's like swaying as I walk on it. It is absolutely beautiful out here today. I just ran into a couple that was hiking, an older couple. Apparently if you keep going in this direction I'm walking, the trail goes pretty much straight up. They said for about a mile, so they cut their hike short. But I've hiked enough of Georgia to trust them, believe them. Georgia is no joke. It's very steep. So pretty out here today. Well, I might as well at least make my way completely across this bridge so that I can say I've walked across it. Why not? This is really cool though. I didn't expect it to be anywhere near this cool or this big. That was totally worth this short hike down. Now I'm hoofing it back up. It's pretty steep. But apparently it's a bit of a cheat code to park where I did. Because I've run into a few older couples down here hiking. Excuse me being out of breath. This is steep. I'm from Florida, guys. I'm not used to this. But anyways, both of them just came down the trail and they're like, how'd you get there? Well, you can get there, but you definitely got to have four-wheel drive. It's a fun drive, but apparently they had to do a lot more hiking, much longer distances from where they parked. But this was totally worth coming down and checking out. This is cool. The Chattahoochee Forest National Fish Hatchery. You can actually walk in here. Check it out. That's a lot of fish. That's really cool. I wonder what they are. I'd assume some sort of trout. Yeah, they're definitely trout. Different size fish in these different holding areas. These ones over here are the biggest ones I've seen so far. About twice the size of those first ones I saw. There are a lot of them. Very cool. That fish hatchery was really cool. I actually ran into the two guys. Apparently there's only two guys that manage that entire fish hatchery. I was able to ask them some questions. Everything in there, in all of their holding pens right now, with the exception of one tank, is all rainbow trout. And they've got one small tank of brook trout. So the vast majority of that is all rainbow trout. And they let them all go. They release all of them in the spring. So they're all growing up right now. He said that they vary in the amount of time it takes to go from egg to ready to be released. Most of them, he said, take somewhere in the neighborhood of about 16 months, whereas they can take as little as, 8 or 9 months. It just all depends on conditions. And I was really surprised to see that all of those tanks were wide open the way they were. And so I asked him about birds, and he said that place gets just absolutely hammered by birds. So I could only imagine. He said most of it's heron. And when I mentioned, I said, well, it's probably pretty cool to see heron around here. He didn't look like he was very impressed to see heron. He just, probably because they're eating all of his hard work. But anyways, really interesting. 350,000 fish in there right now. He said they're getting ready to get 350,000 more eggs from somewhere in Tennessee to get started with. And then he said, like, I guess in a few months they're going to get another 250,000 eggs. So pretty crazy number of fish. Really cool operation though. Really nice guys that run it as well. just came through the little town of Suches, Georgia, here on the route. And now I am officially on the second part of the route, the second of three. I've got about an hour and 20 minutes before official sunset time, according to the weather app I just checked when I had service. So I'm officially on the hunt for camp. I'm going to keep my eye peeled and hopefully find a good place sooner rather than later, because I would prefer to get my tent set up while I still got a little bit of daylight. Finally found camp for the night. I was actually getting pretty nervous because I was thinking to myself as I was driving today, I bet I didn't ever go any more than 20-30 minutes without finding a good campsite. And then naturally, of course, as soon as I started looking for a good campsite, I found a few, but I literally marked them on my GPS as one of those, like, well, if I had to, I could situations. But right before sunset here, there was one waypoint on my GPS that was here from before. And with that said, I'm clearly on the same route as the Georgia Traverse, because I decided to come up the hill that it was marked as a possible campsite. You're not going to believe this. This turned out to be probably my favorite campsite the whole time I was on the Georgia Traverse 2 years ago. I mean, just a ton of flat space. Got my truck here, got it to myself. Just right down that hill is the trail. Nice little fire ring. I can't complain at all. This is awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and get camp set up though, because I'm rapidly losing daylight. Got camp set up, have a nice little fire going, so I figured we could hang out, do a little fireside chat, recap day number 2, first full day out here on the Chattahoochee BDR-X. It was actually a beautiful day, both weather-wise and route-wise. It was very, very slow going on the first part of the route that I did today. Just a lot of washouts, embedded rock. You're just not going to move very fast. And that's something I kind of overlooked when I decided to do a route that was actually designed for 2 wheels, is if you're on 2 wheels, you can go through a lot of these washouts and around these big mud holes and stuff that, you know, you're not gonna fly through in a Tacoma. You know, I've got to stop. Sometimes I got to get out, kind of look at a line, figure things out. Where if you're on 2 wheels, a lot of times you can just kind of take a quick little route just right out around it. So much slower going in a vehicle. This route was designed to be done in 3 days on an adventure bike, which is probably totally possible. However, if you're doing it in a 4-wheel drive vehicle, that's not going to be the case unless you are spending long hours doing the route, and then you couldn't really enjoy it. So why would you do that? But I did stop at the where the Rangers, the Army Rangers, train. They have a mountain school here in this area. It's the 5th Ranger Training Battalion, and there's a little area open to the public. It's not in the main gate. They're not going to let you through the main gate, but if you just go, it's probably about a quarter of a mile farther up the route, there's a sign. It's called I think it's called the Overhang Cafe, and it's a cool little bar area. I stopped in, checked it out, you know, took a pee. A really neat little spot. Not long after that, that's pretty much where the slow going ended. Not long after that at all, I got on some roads. And again, I probably sound like a broken record saying this, but you can definitely tell that this was a route made for 2 wheels, because the roads that you do get on are just twisty, turny, windy. I mean, they're a blast to drive, so it's highly recommend you do it, but it would be a lot of fun on 2 wheels as well. But pretty much primarily after that, a lot of pavement, which was cool because I was able to gain a lot of ground. You know, I was starting to get a little worried about mileage, but that worry was quickly went away once I was able to get on the actual asphalt. Made some pretty quick time, came through Suches, Georgia, or where the route takes you through doesn't really take you through Suches. At least I don't think so, because there was really nothing there. I mean, not even a place to stop for gas. And I'm sure if you would have got on a main road off of the route, you could have probably got fuel. But ended up getting back in the woods, and I'm guessing about where I came back into the woods on the route is where I met up with the Georgia Traverse route. And I was able to tell that I had met up with the Georgia Traverse route because I left the waypoints for that route on my Gaia app. I had to take the route off because there's so much overlap. If you put both the Chattahoochee BDR-X and the Gaia GPX file for the Georgia Traverse, it's all these figure eights. You wouldn't know which one to follow. So the only thing I had on there as far as routes go is the BDR-X, the one that I'm doing right now. But I kept the waypoints for the Georgia Traverse because I knew that wouldn't confuse me. And that brings me to another point about this route. The route, you can download it for free on BDR-X's website. It's a very good route. You know, you can donate to them, which I recommend you do, because they spend a lot of time and effort putting these routes together. And it's a very well, so far I've only done probably about 35% of this one, but it's, as far as route architecture goes, A+, highly recommend. But the waypoints are where it's lacking, and that's partially because it's designed to be done in 3 days, and they just don't have anything marked for camping, at least that I've seen. A lot of the guys that are doing that on adventure bikes are probably stopping in at an actual campground or a bed and breakfast, or, you know, some arrangement like that. But it's a departure from what I'm used to, because the routes that I have for the Georgia Traverse, as well as the Alabama Rubicon and the Florida Adventure Trail and all that kind of stuff that I've paid for, those are rich in waypoints. So I highly recommend. Those are worth the money. Absolutely, all of them are worth the money, because they do, I mean, they literally, at least the Georgia Traverse one here, pretty much marks almost every intersection. It can almost be too much, but then you also find possible campsites that have been marked as well. And that's actually how I found this one, is this one waypoint. I had really been looking and getting nervous, and like I told you, there were several places I stopped, and I'm on the windward side of the mountain. At least I was when I was coming up. Now that I'm starting to go down, I'm a little more protected, but everywhere I stopped, it was windy and cold and barely any room for my truck, and literally right on the route. And it was just like, man, if I had to, I could. But I found this one lonely waypoint up here, and as soon as I got close enough, I clicked on it, and it said possible campsite, and the little kind of slough that you come up to get to this campsite looked familiar, and I said, there's no way. You got to be kidding me. And sure enough, made it up the hill, and man, was I pleasantly surprised. So, like I said, this turned out to be one of my favorite campsites on all of the Georgia Traverse that I stayed on 2 years ago. Probably not quite as legendary as last night's campsite, but the fact that I sort of accidentally ended up here tonight is awesome in and of itself. But anyways, I'm just going to hang out here, have a little bit of food. I stopped at Conecuh Sausage on the way up. You know, that's a mandatory stop for me. Stop at their at the mothership there, and pretty much loaded up on cracked black pepper sausage, as well as their Big Chief hot dogs. Just been roasting that stuff over the fire and living on that. It's been good. Haven't got tired of it yet. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and eat some food, just chill here by the fire, and get some sleep. I'll see you in the morning. Good morning. Had just another incredible night of weather for camping. Same thing that I've been dealing with so far on this trip, and that's lows down in probably the high 40s, maybe even the low 50s. It might not even have dipped down into the 40s. Couldn't tell you for sure, but it was very comfortable sleeping weather. The plan for today, I want to make my way down into Helen. I remember when I stopped here when I was doing the Georgia Traverse a couple years ago that I was able to make it down into Helen. from here on that day, and I'm going to try to do that today. Now, I don't know if it's going to be this morning, could be this afternoon. I remember getting there relatively early on the route I was doing before, but on this route, sometimes you'll just be making good time, like, oh man, cool, I'll be there in 45 minutes. And then, you know, the route's like, oh, just kidding, down to 3 miles an hour for an hour and a half, crawling through some washed out stuff. All of it's fun, so it doesn't really make a difference to me, but who knows, depends on the route as to what time I can make it down there. But I really need to get some more fuel. I've got about a half tank of fuel, a little more than a half tank, and then I've also got another container with about 6 gallons in it. So I'm not overly concerned. I could definitely not stop in Helen and go down to Dillard, which is where the next section of this loop sort of intersects a town. I could certainly make it there, but I'd like to stop. I really want to get some more water, need to get some more hot dog buns. Also, would like to get some more firewood too. Pretty low on firewood, so it'd be a good stop. Gonna try to make it down to Helen, and it's a cool little town. So anyways, I'm gonna finish loading up here. I've already got camp broke down. It's pretty obvious. I did put my tent in the same place last night right over here that I did the last time I was here for the sake of nostalgia, but I've got it all loaded up now. So I'm going to get my coffee poured into the old Yeti and get on the road. Looking forward to seeing what today brings. Came down to an intersection on some paved section of the route here and got to a cool little place called the Sunrise Grocery. Cool little old truck out here. Pretty neat looking place. Now I'm gonna go in and check it out. Just made it down to Hilton Creek Falls. Believe it or not, there's only one other car here in the parking area. That's kind of surprising to me, but I'm gonna walk down here and check these falls out. Just got up to the viewing platform. Kind of hard to see from here. It's a pretty waterfall though. All right, I was on the lower viewing platform. Just come up a few stairs. Got a much better view of the waterfall here. Yeah, watch your step. Oh yeah. Beautiful. I was just talking to the couple, must have been the couple that had the other car there in the parking area, an older couple from Dothan. We got to talking a little bit, and one thing that the gentleman said, you know, right when we parted ways was, he said, you got to get in that mindset that you got to live for today. And we got to talking about water spout / tornado that just hit Mexico Beach down in Florida, where they vacation not far from where I'm at, and how Mexico Beach got just so devastated here in the recent past. with by a hurricane. But just found it interesting that his parting advice was, you got to get in that mindset. You got to live for today. I try to do a better job of that every single day of my life. I feel like these last couple days, I've been doing a pretty good job of it. So, really having a good time out here. I was just thinking about just how lucky I've been with these last couple of campsites, and kind of makes me a little anxious because you know that you can't get lucky every time. I actually, I guess as a backstory, this trip that I'm on right now was literally, with the exception of doing it during this time frame here at the beginning of November, was pretty much completely unplanned. And you know, they say, the old saying, you know, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. But I don't 100% agree with that. Not in every circumstance. I think sometimes you need to live a little bit and take some chances. A lot of times you end up in better situations than you would have if things go the way that you thought would be perfect. But anyways, I literally last minute on the drive up from Destin, I didn't even know what route I was going to be traveling. I just knew that I wanted to come up to northern Georgia because I thought the leaves would be changing, and as luck would have it, they really are. It's been absolutely gorgeous. But I didn't know if I was going to do the Georgia Traverse or the BDR-X, which is the one I'm doing, or if I was just going to go do some exploring around the woods. I really had no idea until the morning I got started, after I left Cherokee Rock Village and headed up here. For whatever reason, you know, that morning I was like, you know what, let me try the BDR-X. So here we are. But when I was talking back there at Cherokee Rock Village, I mentioned that I had neighbors, and I got to tell you, I mean, in the subject of camping and camp spots, that place is vast. Really great camping area. Highly recommend it. I talked a lot more about it in the video I did when I went and explored the Little River Canyon there in Alabama. Go check that video out if you want to see more about that campground. But it's vast, a lot of space there. I didn't have it to myself this time, but there were no more than probably 5 other campers there, and it had just gotten dark, you know, and I knew that there was only probably about 5 other people because the spot that I got last time, which I really liked, was available. But I did a whole loop around the place, check things out, just to make sure there wasn't something that I missed last time that I'd rather have, and ended up at the same spot that I had the first time I went there. But it had gotten dark out, and I hear a vehicle pull up, and sure enough, somebody right next to me, campsite right next to me, sets up this huge tent. Took them forever to get it set up. They finally got it set up. I mean, they were not seasoned veterans because it had to take them every bit of probably 45 minutes to get this tent set up. It was a pretty big tent, but I mean, it took them some time. And it was a couple. They were probably, I would assume, in their late 20s, early 30s, something like that. But probably some local talent. The female had, I mean, blue hair, all of it, every strand of it, bright blue. The male, he looked like he just got off work on a road crew, had his high-vis yellow shirt on, jeans, boots. I mean, he probably really did just get off work at a road crew. But they pull up, they set up camp right next to me, and which is no big deal. I mean, that just comes with the territory when you're at a campsite like that. And they pull up right next to me. I mean, they have themselves a time that night. They weren't too bad, but they were pretty loud. You know, they had music going. You could tell they were drinking. In fact, they were close enough to me, I could tell that they were drinking twisted tea and beer of some sort, because it was Probably cheap beer because it was in a suitcase size cardboard packaging, but they were having themselves a time. Like I said, playing music, and then they started doing some things that if they're not married, Jesus would not approve of, if you know what I mean. But I will say, based on the sounds coming from that tent, old boy was getting the job done. But fast forward 2 minutes and 41 seconds later, or however long that lasted, and the music starts back up, you know, and they're out there laughing. I could tell they were trying to get a fire started, because I'm sitting there at my fire and I'm facing their campsite because that's where I'm getting the best heat off of my fire. And I could tell they're trying to get a fire started because you would see this huge like glow. I'm assuming they were using gasoline to get it started and didn't really have the right wood. I would assume the concept of dry wood had escaped them. But either way, I don't think they really ever succeeded, because 3 or 4 times you'd see this huge raging, their vehicle was parked kind of in the way, so I couldn't see the fire itself, but you could see just the glow and the silhouette of the vehicle and all that 2 or 3 times, and then I think they gave up and went to listening to more music and drinking beer and all that. But I just got to thinking, like, out of that entire camping area, what are the odds somebody sets up right next to me on the one night I'm there? Well, I guess the odds are 100% because somebody did. And I asked the lady at there's a little, like, tiny little camp store there right when you come on their property. And I went in there to buy a couple of stickers because I always do. I like to pick up stickers at places I go. And I asked her how many campsites were there. And there's so many she didn't even know. She said they're well over 100. And then they've got apparently 20 RV sites. They're primitive, but they do have a pump out, and they've got a place, they've got a station for water. You can fill up your tanks and stuff. But I thought it was crazy. I mean, wasn't the end of the world, but out here for, you know, a little bit of silence and solitude. I'm completely solo on this trip. So kind of give me an opportunity to just enjoy nature, be by myself, and lo and behold, night number 1, that was the situation. So I just found it interesting. But another thing that was pretty interesting about that is the next morning when I was leaving to come up here to Georgia, when I stopped at that camp store, I was going to fire up my GPS to get into East Ellijay, and I had no signal, but I knew I had signal at my campsite. So I doubled back, went back to my campsite, and the whole thing's wild because just the way timing worked. Go back to my campsite, end up getting signal and firing it up and everything. And I see a bunch of like overlanding rigs in a parking area. It's kind of a big parking area where people mainly park horse trailers. And so I pulled in there because I just got in service, and that's where I was going to punch in my destination and all that. It was a good place to stop. And lo and behold, it was John Burkmeyer of the Sunshine State Adventure Company who created the Florida Adventure Trail. Him and some other fellas. I remember seeing on Facebook they were doing the Bama Adventure Trail, the BAT, so they must have been doing that. I didn't realize it was them until I had basically passed them, and then I ended up following them out. I was going out of the Cherokee Rock Village area, proper area, and they had pulled in. They were going to walk into the store and that little camp store and everything, and I could definitely tell it was him. Didn't recognize his vehicle at first because he's got that Xterra, and I'm used to it being white, and he's apparently got it wrapped now in black with some Onyx decals and stuff like that. But just found that to be interesting that the timing worked out that way. So it was a good time. But anyways, looks like I'm coming up to an intersection now where I'm going to get on a paved road and might be able to make some pretty good time getting down into Helen. So only one way to find out. Back there in Helen at the Dollar General I stopped at, there was a lady in there standing there talking to the cashier, and they obviously knew each other, probably good friends or something. But I was getting what my lady would call the tea. Not the lady working there, but the lady talking to her was spilling the tea. Apparently her estranged husband, she was giving the cashier some example of him being a hypocrite. You know, well, he says to do one thing and then he goes on and does something different himself, and carrying on. And then she shared with myself, everybody within earshot, and the cashier, that he recently asked her, "Where's these magical divorce papers you've been promising me?" And to that she responded, "Well, how am I going to serve you divorce papers if I don't know where you live?" And it was pretty apparent that she wasn't going to soon get that information, because he made it clear to her that as long as he can fog a mirror, he was never going to let her know where he was living. And oh, it was good stuff, good stuff. I just came through Clayton, Georgia. Clayton's a cool little town. I've actually spent a decent amount of time there. Not too far at all from the Sarah's Creek camping area. And this route takes you right through Clayton. You actually cross the kind of the older downtown area, but where the newer road is, there's a lot of opportunities for places to eat, places to shop, pharmacies, all that kind of stuff. But in the little downtown area, the older section of town, there's some really good spots to eat. I've eaten at a few of them. I'm pretty sure there's a brewery down there too. There's also an outfitter, Outdoor 76 is down there. There's a fly fishing shop. Cool little area. There's also there's this one business, the biggest business in that downtown area. It's actually kind of a culmination of 2 or 3 different businesses, but it's the folks that own the Ace Hardware down there. Last time I was in this area, I just remember one of the employees in there, he was telling me this story. He asked where I was from, and I told him, and he was telling me this story. I guess he had like an uncle or something that was stationed down at Eglin Air Force Base in like the 70s or 80s, something like that. And he was telling me his uncle and some buddies were out. They went out the Destin Pass on like a John boat or a skiff, or can't remember what it was. He said it was a tiny little boat. They had no business being out there. And they were out just, red snapper fishing or something near shore. And he said apparently they ran into some engine troubles, motor problems, which was pretty typical of the older 2-strokes. And I guess they got stranded out there for a couple of days, and they didn't have a VHF radio with them. They didn't have any way to make contact. This is before cell phones, of course. And he said his uncle, would tell the story that they were out there they stayed, I think I remember him saying they stayed overnight, and they remember the tide as it was changing, kind of bringing them closer to shore where they could they were somewhere there were people camping on the beach and having bonfires and stuff, and they could smell the camp smoke. And, they felt like they were close to civilization. And then when the tide changed and went out, it pulled them even farther away, and it was really demoralizing for them. And in Destin, we only have one tide change a day. It's a pretty unique area, that area of the Gulf Coast. Most places in the world have 2 tide changes, but that's a random fact. Anyways, I guess they ended up getting, his uncle was telling the story, so they ended up getting saved somehow, probably another boat the next day. Saw him out there and rescued him, but just thought I'd share that with you. Pretty random story. This route just took me right down into Sarah's Creek campground, which is an awesome campground. I've stayed at it a couple of times, and I was actually kind of wondering because they changed it. It used to be first come, first served, and they changed it, I believe this year sometime, to be an online reservation. You got to pay online and do all that, so, which I don't really know how I feel about. Actually, I do know how I feel about it. I much preferred it when it was first come, first served, because I did look at their availability while I was still at Cherokee Rock Village, because I thought there's a really cool campsite here that I kind of wanted to figure out the timing and stay at if I could, and that campsite was just booked out as far as the calendar could see, as well as a couple of other really nice ones right by it. There's really no bad campsites there. I mean, some are better than others, but yeah, there's some really nice ones in the back. And then everything in the entire campground is already reserved for Friday and Saturday night. So that just kind of bummed me out. But I actually, just out of curiosity, drove to the back to that really nice campsite that's booked out, just to see if somebody had reserved it, you know, and wasn't even using it. But it looks like there's some sort of road crew or something that has that whole back area reserved. They're probably doing some work in the area. It was just a bunch of big white trucks and looked very much like kind of road crew or construction outfit or something like that. So that solved that mystery, but I've still got a couple hours of daylight left anyway. Don't really want to stop for the night just yet. So I don't know if this route's going to take me there, but I kind of remember the Tallulah River campground being not too far out from here. So I have no idea if that's going to be an option, but that'd be pretty sweet. That was a really nice campground that I stayed at when I was doing the Georgia Traverse. So I guess I'm about to find out. That'd be pretty cool if it worked out so I can stay there. If not, I'll find somewhere else cool to camp. It's all good. What's going on, man?
We've got, I'm not too sure how they're looking up there, but we're doing some tree falling up there.
Gotcha.
I've been trying to get a hold of my guy just to ask him questions, so.
Gotcha.
I'll let you through as soon as they either get the tree out of the road or onto the road now.
Gotcha.
It might be a little bit.
How long are you thinking?
I can try to get a hold of him right now.
That'd be cool.
They called around Hancock. Yeah, they must be in the middle of cutting something. I thought I heard it come down, so they might be getting it out of the road. Dang, that's Hancock.
Yeah, I'll walk down. I still hear a saw running. They put one down, but I'm not sure if they're bucking something out of the road or not.
Yeah, I'm honestly not too sure.
Gotcha.
I wish I knew. I'm trying to get through because we need to go get my guys lunch, and it's at the other truck. So
right.
I'm waiting.
You're
too,
waiting
so.
too. Yeah. I get it.
Yeah, here just
following a route through here.
Nice.
So, yep, out here for a few days.
Right on. It's a pretty cool area.
It's a great area, man. I wish we had more daylight this time of year, but it's gorgeous with these leaves changing, man.
Yeah, one of the guys back at, we're not even from here, we're actually from Oregon.
Oh, okay.
So we just drove, we flew out Sunday, we got here Monday, and we'll be here for another 2.5 weeks. Right now we're just cutting dead trees and snags. They're wanting to burn all the leaves and all the brush here.
Gotcha.
In the near future, and so we're just mitigating that. And
getting ready for it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Kind of hanging out, waiting to see if a fire ever starts, and if it does, we'll jump on it. But
yeah, it seems kind of dry, but not too dry, so
yeah.
Guess it's hard to tell.
It's wet compared to back home. Well, I don't know. We actually just got like 5 inches of rain back home, and that's a lot.
Yeah.
It rains basically every day in the Pacific Northwest. So.
Right. Normally it's much wetter.
Yeah.
It stays wet. Yeah, that makes sense. It's totally different out there though, man. The big hardwoods and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm from Florida, so we have nothing. I'm in Northwest Florida. We have nothing but pine there.
Oh really?
Nothing but pine.
Never been to Florida.
Yeah, it's a cool place, man. It's a cool place.
This is my technically second time being in Florida, or Georgia. Was here when I was like 4 for my brother's Army graduation. But
okay, you probably don't remember that.
Basically, all I remember is tanks driving around and guns shooting.
Right.
So now I can say I've actually been here. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it really is cool out
Go ahead.
here.
Hey, you guys, there's a rig waiting. Where you guys at? You can let them pass. We're still in the face cut.
Oh, copy. I'll
Copy. You copy?
yeah, I copy direct. I'll let him through. I'll have you back up, and I'm gonna back up into that area, and I'll let you go
Okay.
through.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, just be aware there might be some people on the side of the road.
Yeah, I'll come through there slow.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Good talking to you. Guys, this failure to plan thing is working out for me. Call it luck. I don't know what you call it, but I'll take it. I was getting really nervous about finding a campsite before it got dark. I felt like as long as I can find a campsite before it's dark, I'll be fine. I can get set up in the dark if I got to. But once it's dark, it's awfully hard to find spots off the side of the path. But I just got incredibly lucky. I made my way through Dillard, was getting really nervous because, you know, I mean, you're in a town, so you know it's going to take a little bit of time to get into the woods enough to find camping. And as luck would have it, while I'm coming through Dillard, of course there's construction. It's a one lane, a major road that goes through there goes down to one lane. I was at, you know, completely stopped traffic. Ended up kind of doing some, it's a long story, but I made my way around it. I needed to take a right like quarter of a mile where traffic's sitting still waiting on two lanes. But either way, made my way around it. That still backed me up for probably 15, 20 minutes, sitting there getting nervous. You know, again, had no idea where I'd camp. And as soon as I got out of Dillard and made my way almost up this mountain, you know, it's pretty evident where the National Forest boundaries are on the Gaia map. And that's kind of what I was looking for. I knew that as soon as I got into that, I'd probably find something, and I sure did. This is a beautiful campsite. That is the view. Comes complete with a fire ring and a big old rock face keeping me protected in here. And just beyond my truck there, probably about 50 yards, is the route itself. I got my truck kind of parked weird so that I could get my tailgate level, because that's my table while I'm out here. But anyways, I'm gonna quit rambling. I really need to get set up. I'm stoked. 3 for 3. I'm batting 1,000 on these campsites. So I'm gonna get set up and I'll talk to you soon. Got camp all set up. Now I'm just enjoying my time around the fire here. Figured we'd go ahead and recap day number 3. Today I was able to cover a lot more ground than I was able to over the last day and a half, really. We'll call it 2 days, really day and a half. So section 2, I covered all of section 2 today. I only made my way a few miles into section 2 yesterday, last night, and now I'm a few miles into section 3. So, and it was, I want to say 130, 140 miles. So I was able to cover almost twice the ground that I've been able to cover. And the reason for that is because there was a lot of pavement. The section coming down from the hilltop campsite, basically coming down that mountain, there are plenty more opportunities to camp from where I camped down that mountain. But once you get off of that mountain and you're on paved road, sort of heading towards Helen, where the route takes you right on the edge of Helen, there is really no camping at all for a few hours. And the biggest reason for that is it's just paved road. Now, it's beautiful paved road, a lot of fun to drive. I did stop at Hilton Creek Falls, but there were probably, I would say, 4 or 5 other waterfalls that you could pretty easily get to. I mean, I saw signage for them just throughout the route that was marked, that you could have, if you really wanted to make a day of it, you could stop and check those waterfalls out. The only reason I didn't is because, 1, I've already seen all of them, and 2, some of them require longer hikes down or up to the waterfall, and I was just trying to make some ground. Now, had I never seen those waterfalls, I might have made the time to do it, but all of them are worth seeing. A lot of cool, beautiful scenery around here. But a lot of paved section through there, and I kind of got to thinking, I'm kind of comparing this route to the Georgia Traverse, and up to section 2, I was thinking, you know what, this has at least as much off-road as the Georgia Traverse, but going into section 2, awful lot of pavement. However, what I will say is, again, the pavement that you run is just, it's through beautiful country, and it's just very fun to drive. It's a lot of fun. It's very well routed, very well thought out. But 2, they actually, on this route, they added Popcorn Creek in today, and it's marked as an optional, like, hard line, which I don't know why they marked that as a hard line, because I've done Popcorn Creek. I've done it 3 times in both directions, and it's a blast. It is an absolute fun road to ride, but it's no more difficult than some of the stuff that they had me go through in section 1. So I don't know why they marked that as an optional hard line. If I were to design the route, I would have just made that a part of the route, and had, the route as like an optional easy bypass, or, foul weather bypass or something like that. But it was routed like smack dab in the middle of a bunch of beautiful road riding. You got to Popcorn Creek, which is just an awesome, just washed out, a lot of fun. And I did that in my Georgia Traverse video a couple years ago. So I didn't bother doing it today, again, for the sake of making better time. And it's something I've done a few times already. If you want to see me do it in the Tacoma I'm in, go check out the video that I did of the Georgia Traverse. But that actually kind of would have broken up the day perfectly, with coming down the mountain, then doing a nice road ride, then Popcorn Creek, then some more road riding. And then don't get me wrong, there's plenty of off-road mixed in today too, just not as much as there had been in section 1. So the second half, really, well, maybe the second third of section 2 was a lot of off-road, just beautiful riding. I remember there was one section that you're just driving a ridgeline, and it's on a Forest Service road, and there's evergreens off to the left and just all these hardwoods with changing leaves off to the right. It was just absolutely beautiful. And then also the second or the last third or so of the day today, like the last 40 or 50 miles, there was some overlap with the Georgia Traverse. There was where I ran into those guys that were doing work with the Forest Service. That was actually a route, and I could tell that I could have stayed on a more main Forest Service road, and kind of bypassed what this route does and saved a lot of time. But I want to do this whole route, so I took the long way. And but I could tell, because I still have my waypoints continued along that route, whereas I took a much more scenic route off of the Traverse. And I remember just thinking like, well, if you can take the Georgia Traverse, but this thing's going to deviate me off of it, I was like, just get ready. It's probably going to be crawling and slow going. But it really wasn't. It was actually really nice. And the Forest Service has actually recently come through there and cut down tons of deadfall, so there was no trees in the way. It was just a really pleasant drive. But overall, just an awesome day. I mean, the whole route is so beautiful. I want to film everything. Every time I come around a corner, I want to turn a camera on. It's just so beautiful. Really enjoying it. I'm into section 3 now, which is the final section, looping back to Ellijay, and I have no idea how far I will make it tomorrow, but I'm going to try, and of course I have no idea what the route has in store for me. I'm going to try to make it most of the way to Ellijay and camp for the night, and then the following day finish up that morning and head out, and that would make it sort of 4 full days. If you count the first actual day on this route being a half day and finishing with about a half day. That's the plan. That may be kind of optimistic. I know I've got over 100 miles left, and I have no idea what kind of ground I'll be able to gain from here on out. But really looking forward to it, really enjoying myself, and I'm going to enjoy this fire, enjoy the rest of the evening, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Good morning. It's another just absolutely beautiful morning. It was a beautiful night, awesome temperatures for sleeping, got down to probably about 50. Incredibly comfortable. Right now it's actually, even with just this hoodie on, it's a little bit warm, so just a beautiful day for the beginning of November. But this campsite, I got to show this to you again. Right there's where I had my tent, nice flat spot. That was the view right through there. You can't really tell right now because it's pretty humid. There's a lot of haze, you know, that kind of thing through there. But last night when I got here, as the sun was setting, I could see the ridge line through there. It's just absolutely beautiful. And then the other side over here, just this awesome rock wall. Had the whole place to myself. You're really not going to get any more than 1 or 2 people down here, but just an awesome place. But anyways, I've got the truck running. I'm going to get on my way. I have no idea what today's going to bring. I've actually purposely been trying to kind of stay off of the Gaia app and keeping myself from really looking at what's coming ahead, just to keep that as part of the adventure. I like to be surprised, so I have no idea what today's going to bring. You know, your guess is as good as mine, but what I can tell you is that I'm really looking forward to it. Can't wait to see what I see, and I'll show you. So let's go. Just started driving along the Tallulah River, and I remember this being just a beautiful drive through here. Hopefully the route is the same, if not similar, to the Traverse, but this is the first parking area that I came to, so I'm gonna walk down here, check this river out. I remember it being just absolutely beautiful. I could only imagine the fly fishing in the springtime, especially after they've released all those rainbow trout. Look at this, just gorgeous. Oh, the fishing in here, right in here would be awesome. I love the little eddy. You know that holds fish. Looks like I've got a pretty drive ahead of me here for the next few miles anyways. I just came up Charlie's Creek Road after doing that water crossing, which is really cool. There is way more water here than there was the last time I came through here a couple of years ago. A lot of the spots on Charlie's Creek Road here that were marked as water crossings, last time I came through, I was heading in the other direction on the Traverse, there was absolutely no water, but there's quite a bit in there now. I'm also happy to report that I guess a few years ago they came through on that very lower section and graded the road going down towards that water crossing. Well, what I can tell you is over the last couple of seasons, the nature has taken its toll and it's really washed out that section. So it's back to being, if you're going uphill, it's definitely a four-wheel drive only situation, as you saw. It's very off camber. It was really nice. I remember a lot of people being disappointed last time I came through here. That time, you know, those couple of years, because it was such an easy route where it used to be a little more difficult. But anyways, the reason for my stop here is the Appalachian Trail crosses right here. Crosses Charlie's Creek Road, and every year I've made it a point to at least be on the Appalachian Trail at some point, even if it's in some sort of small capacity. We've got a white blaze right here, and the trail goes up this way. A lot of good memories on the Appalachian Trail. This route has crossed the Appalachian Trail several times. A lot of other trails too, but I wasn't expecting it to cross right here. Very cool. Well, I checked that off of the box for 2025. So I was on the at least on the Appalachian Trail. I touched a blaze. All right. I'm going to continue to head up Charlie's Creek Road. It looks like the worst of it's behind me, and see what the rest of the route brings. Just got up to Brasstown Bald, which is the highest point in the state of Georgia. There's a shuttle. It's gonna take me up to the top. So I'm gonna go up there, check out the view. Made it up to the top. Got to get a view off to the east, off to South Carolina. It is absolutely beautiful up here. Kind of a humid day though. That's why it's kind of hazy.
There was a big CCC camp right here in Sutchins. CCC's built Woody Gap High School and a church and miles of telephone line and planted trees and fought forest fires. And I kept right on buying land for the government. Well, I ain't much for rhinos. They're gonna put a plaque in a boulder on Black Mountain and dedicate Sotheby Gold to me. Shoot, I bought that.
That was well worth the $8 to get up to the top, especially since you get a shuttle ride up there. What I can tell you from experience is that the shuttle is seasonal. I've only ever been up here once before and I had to hoof it up there, and it's no joke. It is some kind of steep of a hike to get from this parking area up there, and you still are supposed to pay the day use parking fee. I think it was still $8 last time I came. So anyways, especially if the shuttle's running, absolutely worth the $8. Very pretty up there, really enjoyed it. Got a nice clear, mostly clear day, but today's the first day in 4 days I've seen a cloud in the sky. So there's a couple of them that look a little bit rainy, but I don't know, not really forecasted any kind of rain. I think they're just kind of moving through. But anyways, I'm gonna get back on the route. This was not very far at all off the route. Get back on the route, see what it brings me. I'm down here at Cooper's Creek Campground, and it's a really nice campground. I've only seen 2 people here. There are quite a few sites. I've seen probably 30 sites. What I did make a note of is that if you want to stay on the creek itself, site number 18 looks extra legit. If you want to stay, you don't care about being on the creek, you just want a bunch of space to yourself, 24. It's actually right through here. It's actually behind where you see this small little camping area. You get that whole hill way up there. A lot of space to yourself, and it's in like the back corner of this campground. So if you plan on staying here, you're welcome. With that said, I guess the federal government has switched over to a reservation system rather than first come, first served. I already told you how I feel about that. I just found another flaw in the system, and that is you can go to recreation.gov if you have service. Right here, Verizon has no cell service. I have no idea if any of the other carriers do or not. But if I did land here at the right time of evening and wanted to stay here, there would be no way for me to make a reservation. I don't have Starlink on the truck. Maybe in the future when we're all using satellite cell phones or everybody has Starlink on their vehicle, maybe it's not gonna be an issue. But for now, I was kind of thinking about maybe making it an early day and stopping here and leaving. I guess I'd probably have about 40 miles left for tomorrow, but there's no way for me to make a reservation here. So I'm gonna keep pushing up the route, and I have no idea how long I'm gonna go before I stop, but I kind of want to make it a little bit of an early evening. That way I can enjoy some time at camp, really relax tonight, because tomorrow I'm planning on finishing the route and then I'm going to be heading back down to Florida. So it would be a little less of a relaxing day tomorrow, but I'll make it as relaxing as I possibly can. But anyways, gonna get back on the trail, see what I can find. believe I have found camp for the night. It's a pretty nice spot. And tonight I actually have an hour and a half or so till sunset. You can't really tell. It's pretty overcast out here, but I've got plenty of time before the sun actually sets. But a pretty cool spot. Plenty of space. Got a nice little fire ring. And it sits down here on this little creek, which is pretty sweet. Plenty of flat space. Plenty of flat space for a tent. And I don't have very much route left, so I was getting a little bit nervous. There is some sort of, I think it's like Sandy Branch recreation area or something, not too far up the road. But being Friday night, I can tell you, coming through Mulkey Creek rec area, all of those rec areas that are designated on the map that the U.S. Forest Service maintains and all of that, coming through there, it was like daggone Woodstock 69. I mean, it was, in fact, there was one camp set up. I think those folks were there for a while. Looked like some sort of hippie commune or something. But anyways, looks like I got a pretty sweet campsite. The route itself is just beyond my truck. You can probably tell. But yeah, no complaints at all. I mean, for not planning anything out at all, I have really hit the lottery as far as camp spots go. So I'm gonna go ahead and get set up. I got plenty of firewood. Tonight's gonna be my last night in the woods, so I might as well burn what I got. And I'm just gonna sit around, take my time, enjoy myself. All right, day 4 recap. Started off with pretty nice Forest Service road coming down out of that campsite I was at. Basically coming down the mountain. I had gotten pretty near the summit of that mountain. Pretty fast going Forest Service road. Didn't take too long to end up on pavement. Overall today was a pretty good mix of Forest Service road and pavement. Less pavement than yesterday. Again though, all of the pavement that I was on was just absolutely beautiful. Through just really pretty parts of the, farmland and just the countryside. Just really pretty. And of course the time of year doesn't hurt at all with all these leaves changing on these trees. But yeah, less of it today though than yesterday as far as the pavement goes. More Forest Service roads. However, the Forest Service roads that I was on, most of them were a little faster going than yesterday. So yesterday had a lot of pavement, but you would be going 40, 50, 60 miles an hour and then, come to a screeching halt and you're doing 3 to 10 miles an hour kind of on washed out or route, parts of the route that just have a lot of big embedded rock and stuff like that. But today, it was faster moving on the Forest Service roads. Made really good time today. Did over 100 miles and then, that's with stopping at Brasstown Bald, probably about 7 hours. And I spent a good amount of time at Brasstown Bald. That was cool. that helped break up a pretty long, one of the longer sections of pavement today, was to go up there. I wasn't going to go up there at first. I don't know why I wasn't. It was just, you know, you get in that mood. Even when I'm on the interstate, I get in this headspace that I feel like I just want to make a good time. I want to, you know, I'll go and I won't even pee. You know, I just want to go. I want to cover ground, and I had to stop myself and remind myself that's not why I'm out here. It's just to cover ground. It's to enjoy it. And so I'm really glad I stopped at Brasstown Bald. Like I said, I've been there before, but I didn't get the opportunity to take a shuttle up. The shuttle was real easy. It's less than a 5-minute ride up there, and they're constantly running them. There are a good amount of people there, but it wasn't like too overly crowded. But it was really pretty up there. Really clear skies, but with the humidity, it was pretty hazy. So, I mean, it's cool though. It's the highest summit in the state of Georgia, and you can see 4 states from up there. You can see, you know, Georgia, of course, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Tennessee, mountains in all 4 of those states. So that was really cool. Really glad I did that, and I still was able to get to camp at a good time tonight, so it didn't cost me anything. Really enjoyed it. But after that, a little more pavement, then ended up back on Forest Service roads. And a lot of these Forest Service roads I was on today, I mean, they're faster moving, but you can tell not very many people travel on these roads. And the way I can tell is because the roads that are more traveled, and you can tell when you're getting close to like a waterfall or a hiking trail or something, the leaves on the road have been pretty much blown off from the cars and trucks driving over them, just blowing the leaves off of the road. Whereas these lesser traveled roads, there's 6 inches of leaves on the ground, which you got to kind of be careful, because some embedded rocks can sneak up on you, and you get jarred around pretty good if you come up on a rocky section and it's hidden by leaves. But overall, a good day. Only had to put my truck in 4-wheel drive once all day. Forgot to say yesterday I didn't put my truck in 4-wheel drive at all. Now, high clearance was required for yesterday, but didn't have to put my truck in 4-wheel drive. Today, the only time I did was the climb up out of the water crossing there. I think it's the Tallulah River, coming up Charlie's Creek Road. That's the only time I put my truck in 4-wheel drive all day. And you definitely had to have 4-wheel drive to make that happen. And it was very off camber. So, I mean, it was a fun little section of road, but 4-wheel drive was absolutely mandatory. But right after I left camp too, I did come down and cruise down by the Tallulah River, which is just a gorgeous section of the route. And it parallels the Georgia Traverse, and I remember that being beautiful, and I remembered correctly. It was absolutely beautiful. And I did pass that campground I spoke about yesterday. I had a better campsite last night than what I would have had. However, it was less than an hour. It's probably less than 30 minutes from my campsite down to the Tallulah River campground. So even if it was dark, that's no big deal. I mean, there's signage. I could have got down there and got set up in the dark. It wouldn't have been a problem at all. So worst case scenario, could have made that happen. But had that pretty cool crossing there at the Tallulah River. It's really scenic. I mean, I've done Caches Valley Road out here a handful of times, so it's a little anticlimactic for me, but it's still really pretty. Good photo opportunity and stuff. Of course, right when I got there, there were people wanting, it's a popular area. There were some guys on dual sports coming the opposite direction, and I had my drone up in the air, so I was able to get some drone footage of them before I made the crossing myself, and I got one of the fella's email address. I'll send him the clips and stuff. It'll be cool footage for him to have. I had my drone up anyways. But yeah, overall a good day. Like I said, then road riding, Brasstown Bald, back into Forest Service roads, and I ended up here. Really cool campsite. Zero complaints about this campsite. I've seen 1 Jeep go by and 2 dual sport motorcycles go by. And the dual sports look like they were, this was before it got dark, like they stopped like looking like I think they might have planned to camp here or saw it marked. and you know, because they stopped and started messing with their GPSs. And if they wanted to camp here, there's certainly enough space. I mean, I don't own the forest out here. I wasn't going to tell them no. I mean, it's nice to have it to myself, but they would have been more than welcome to stay here with me if, you know, push come to shove. But anyways, they carried on. After that, I saw one Jeep, and that's all I've seen for traffic so far. So I've got probably, I would guess, 2 or 3 hours left of the route tomorrow, and I'll be done. And that kind of begs the question. Of course, I still have 2 or 3 hours, but I mean, I've been out here for 4 days doing this route. Kind of begs the question, if somebody were to ask me if they could only do one route in Georgia, would I suggest that they do the Georgia Traverse or this route? And I've been thinking about it, and I'm going to be honest, that's a very hard question to answer. And the fact that that's a hard question to answer should tell you that you can't go wrong either way. They're both just awesome routes. But if I were to come back, or if I were to tell somebody who only had time to do one of the two routes, what I would prefer, or what I would suggest they do, is I would do this route, this BDR-X route, but I would definitely include Popcorn Creek, because it's a fun road, and it perfectly breaks up day 2 with all the road riding. It's like right in the middle of a bunch of, you know, pavement riding. That would have been great, because it's very slow going, crawling, off camber, washed out, rocky, just fun stuff. I would definitely say to do that during day 2, and to also include, I would do Caches Valley. All of that's out here in this area. You can get to it very easily from this route. I would do Caches Valley while you're out here, and also Earl's Ford. Earl's Ford is right down there by Sarah's Creek Campground. And there's also a really cool trail when you come down to Sarah's Creek Campground. This route has you go right and kind of leave that campground like you're going down to Clayton. If you were to go left, go to the back camping areas, but just keep going. Super cool trail back there. So you could do that, but definitely do Earl's Ford, which is just up the road from, I mean, it's literally probably you're less than 5 minutes out of the way. So definitely do that. So basically do the bonus trails, Caches Valley, Earl's Ford, Sarah's Creek, Popcorn Creek. Those roads with this route would be, if you had, and I would do it in 5 days or 5 nights. I guess you could either or, you know, I think 5 nights to do all of that would be awesome. You could really take your time. You could stop and check out some waterfalls along the way. You could go up to Brasstown Bald. You could really enjoy the sights and sounds if you had like 5 nights. Do this route and those bonus trails. However, if you only had like 2 or 3 nights, I would tell people, and for me, if I only had 2 or 3 nights, what I would do is the Big Frog Loop. And that Big Frog Loop is not a part of this trail at all. This trail is east. All of this is east of the Big Frog Loop. And the Big Frog Loop is just a big loop, and it goes up into Tennessee in the Big Frog Wilderness and down through Georgia here in the Cohutta Wilderness. And it's a really cool, really scenic, beautiful loop, plenty of camping. I've never even done the bottom half of it. I attempted to earlier this year, but the bottom half is closed. At least it was this year, January and February. It's a seasonal road. So the other 10 months, I would do that if you only had 2 or 3 nights to come out here. Definitely do just the Big Frog Loop. Start at Hickey Gap, which is on the west side of it, and you get to the Big Frog Loop relatively quickly, and do that loop. If you have 2 or 3 nights, that would be awesome. But you can't go wrong. The Georgia Traverse was an awesome trail too. I don't want to minimize that at all, but it makes sense that this would be a little bit of a better route. I mean, this is a big loop. The Georgia Traverse by nature had to be point to point across the entire state of Georgia, from the South Carolina border, clear over to the Alabama border, or, you know, if you're going eastbound Alabama to South Carolina, which is the way I did it. But so there's going to be a little bit more, especially on the western side, more driving through towns and stuff. The pavement's not necessarily country roads, but a lot of the Georgia Traverse's pavement is beautiful country roads. So, but this route, I give it an 11 out of 10 for route architecture. The waypoints were lacking. I've marked so many camping spots along the way and different points of interest, and I understand that's, you know, they're not out here necessarily to build an adventure. It's a route, which they did an amazing job at. I will say the route is incredible, but you got to kind of drop your own pins out here. And I mean, there is plenty of opportunity for camping, so the campsite anxiety that I had going into this was totally unnecessary. But got a few hours left, and I'm pretty sure that what I have left, most of it, is going to parallel the Georgia Traverse. So it's stuff that I've done before a couple of years ago. So I don't think I'm in for any major surprises. So I don't think I'm going to change my mind here in the next 25 miles, 30 miles of trail. But I'm looking forward to it. So that's what I'm going to do tomorrow. I'm going to take my time getting out of here and finish up the route. Once I'm done with the route, I'm going to make my way back home. I'm not in any, you know, particular hurry to get home. I'm just going to take my time. So anyways, I'm going to enjoy this campfire. It actually just started raining for a couple of minutes, but I'm starting to see some stars up there now. So I think it's cleared up. But anyways, I'm going to enjoy this fire, have some food to eat, and get back after it in the morning. Good morning. Another night of just sleeping like an absolute baby. Not only did I have the sound of the stream to listen to, but it actually rained last night. I remember the forecast when I was looking at it earlier this week saying that it was going to rain, supposed to rain, like a chance of showers in the afternoon on Friday, but I don't remember what part of Georgia, like what town or city or whatever I was looking at on my weather app when it said that. But I remember that being kind of consistent here throughout northern Georgia. But anyways, it did not, we did not have just showers on Friday afternoon. We ended up having a pretty good rain through the night on Friday night into Saturday morning, which I am not complaining about at all. I mean, I had to pack the tent up wet, but I'm done camping for the week. So if you're gonna have to pack your tent up wet the morning that you're leaving and not camping anymore, is the ideal time to do it. So zero complaints about the timing on that, and listening to it rain just was, it made sleeping so pleasant. But as you can tell, it's pretty wet out here. You can see that drier spot where my tent's footprint was. Truck's pretty wet. I've got it loaded up, ready to roll out, go check out the rest of this route. I only have probably, I'm guessing, another couple of hours. Depends on, of course, the speed I can go, what the route brings. It looks pretty ziggy and zaggy on the route on Gaia, so there's a good chance that it's going to be slow going, which is fine with me. I'm in no hurry. I just want to check out what I have left and enjoy it. I only have, I think, a little more than 30 miles to complete the route, which ends up at that roundabout there in East LJ. But I wish I could tell you what the forecast for today is going to be. It's kind of hazy. The wind blows every now and then. We get some tree pea, but it's not raining anymore. The sky is mostly cloudy. A few little pockets of blue up there, but I can't tell you because I have zero signal whatsoever here at this campsite. But not the end of the world. I guess I will find out naturally. You can even see there's kind of a puddle over here next to where my fire was, but I got my coffee steeping right there. I'm gonna go ahead and get that poured off and get on the road. See what today brings. Here it is. Coming up to the roundabout. We are about to close this loop here at this roundabout. This has been just an incredible time. Again, can't highly recommend this trip enough. This is one of those trips that's got me already thinking about the next one, thinking about the next time I want to get up here and explore. So that does it for this route. I wanted to pull off and you know, stop there in the circle in LJ, but that wasn't gonna happen today. Way too much traffic. I ended up pulling off at a little gas station just outside of LJ. Got to punch into my GPS my route home, which unfortunately is going to take me through Atlanta unless I want to add a couple of hours to the trip, but it is what it is. I've had an awesome time. This has been an incredible route. Can't recommend that you do it enough. I should be a pretty good example for you that you don't need all of the crazy overlanding stuff that you can watch countless videos and follow people on Instagram that you end up just with paralysis by analysis, thinking you need all this stuff. I'm in a pretty stock Toyota Tacoma with, you know, a tent, a chair, brought some firewood along, some food, water. You can get out here and do this, guys. If you got a four-wheel drive vehicle, you can definitely do this route. You're definitely not going to do it in a Subaru. You definitely need four-wheel drive if you want to do this route in its entirety. But anyways, this has been just an incredible trip. It's got me already thinking about the next time I come up here. So if that tells you anything, you know that I had just an incredible time. So anyways, guys, it's been a lot of fun, and I will see you very soon.